Sports, entertainment, and Black history have all come together this month. In 2022, the NBA's Golden State Warriors launched Golden State Entertainment, which creates original content to tell compelling stories that are both rooted and transcend the world of sports and entertainment. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with a Grammy-award-winning hip-hop artist who released his latest project in collaboration with GSC earlier this month. Joining me in studio from the south side of Chi-Town, the one and only Rhymefest.
What's going on, man? Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? How you enjoying Black History Month?
Let me tell you something, man. I'm the best thing that any human can ask for. I'm mentally healthy. I'm balanced. You know what I'm saying? And I am. I wake up every day and I give myself the silence I need to ease into the day. The day don't push me around.
There you go.
So I'm good.
You're at peace. That's good.
Yeah, bro. Come on, man. How many people can say that is a luxury?
No, you're right about
in
that.
our society today, bro.
It's a luxury and a blessing. There's so much I want to talk to you about because there's some good stuff. I want to start talking to you about Golden State Entertainment and what they're doing right now. An NBA team has its own entertainment division, which when I heard about that, interesting, right? Because they're connecting with different artists. So I got to ask you, how did you link up with GSC? How did that come about where Rhymefest is now involved with GSC? Yeah,
so like you said, Golden State Entertainment is a wing of the Warriors. And the guy who is the CEO of GSC, I actually grew up with him in Chicago. His name is David Kelly. He used to be a rapper named Cap D. And Cap D is so interesting. We grew up adjacent, rapping around each other in the same kind of crew. We never did any music together, but we would always have interesting conversations. So from the time I was 16 until now, I would see Cap, and we'd always have good conversations until one day he called me and said, hey, I'm with the Golden State Entertainment Group, and we're doing a entertainment company. I want you to come do an album with us. I said, you with Golden State? Like, you never know who but you know what it taught me, Dex?
Yeah.
Have good relationships with people all your life. Don't fall out with people. Don't let yourself get in the way to sabotage a friendship, because it is an investment in yourself later. And so when Dave Kelly, Cap D, came to me and said, we're doing Golden State Entertainment, and we want you to put an album out and be a strategic partner with us in this entertainment company, I said, oh, I don't sign the record labels. I don't do record deals. I'd rather just be in my corner of discontent, write music with the people that I know and like, and not even put a raindrop in an ocean. Because that's how I view music now. Like, it's like putting raindrops in oceans. It doesn't even matter anymore. And he said, well, what would success look like to you with GSC? I've never had a company ask me what success looked like to me with the art. I said, well, it would look like impact. It would look like community impact. It would look like a coming together of minds. It wouldn't look just like clicks or streams, because I don't want to do antics for art. And he said, that's what we want, impact. He had me.
You were sold. You were sold right there. Okay, so when I hear that, you actually got to a place that you felt respected the art, respected.
Come on.
And I can respect that too. Now, you know this. Sports and entertainment always seem to mix, okay?
Always.
We just saw Usher rock it. People saw it watching the Super Bowl. We saw that. And I think as a rapper, I know that you enjoy both telling stories through your rhymes. That's very important to you. But what do you like about the opportunity to tell stories, particularly ones that transcend about black folks, black people in sports and entertainment? Why is that important to you?
Oh, man, you know, it's so important to tell stories about our community, because that's the stories of the world. That's the stories of every race. That's the stories of Venezuelans who are just coming here. We could tell them what our immigration looked like from Mississippi to Chicago. We could talk about how we had problems coming across an ocean, you know, to get here and just to survive and be resilient. We could tell stories about how we had to integrate into society that people who are Irish can relate to when the Irish and the Italians first came here. I'm telling you, Dex, the black American story is the story of the world. The story of the world exists in our DNA, and we opened up civil rights, human rights, workers' rights. We opened up the rights that everybody enjoys today. So I'm not just telling black stories. I'm telling human stories, interpersonal stories, stories that we can talk to our children about, have great conversations, and give them a curriculum before they step in the classroom. And I believe art has that responsibility. The words that we say have the responsibility to make people's lives improve. And so it was special that James and Nikki, this project, was able to come out during this month, but that's just alchemy. That wasn't on purpose. That was alchemy because it's blessed by the spirit of the ancestors in this month. But this is something, that conversation between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni in 1971 has lasted for 52 years until today. And we're about to take it to another 100 years.
And you decided to, and we're going to get to this project that Rhymefest just put out and dropped on February 9th, early this month. And it celebrates Black History Month, titled James and Nikki, A Conversation. And I've been listening to it since you dropped it a couple of days ago. And just so people know, the project features clips from the historic 1971 conversation between literary icons James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. Both, as you know, Rhymefest, two of the greatest black writers. Yeah. And two of the greatest writers ever.
Right, come on, there you go.
Greatest writers
Yeah,
ever.
let's not qualify it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I got to ask you this, because that's a very specific conversation there, and you chose to make an album around their conversation. Why? Why did you choose to take that very specific conversation between those two literary icons and make an album about it?
Well, you know, first of all, the conversation that they had was it was a gay black man. It was a black woman who now has a partner who's a woman. It was an older man who was living in Paris and was around during the civil rights movement, James Baldwin, talking to a 25-year-old woman that was around during the Black Power movement. No, we not nonviolent, we fighting back. It was the shield, it was the sword, it was the mother, it was the daughter, it was the father. But then when they talked, it was a husband and a wife. It was a poet to a poet. It was a teacher to a student. It was a student teaching the teacher. Oh my God, that is the place we start. And then around that foundation, we talk about who are we today? Have things even changed between our relationships? And that's why I had to have all women on the project. That's why I had to have all women rappers challenging me how Nikki challenged James, pivoting and giving me more information that I may not have had as an older MC, a seasoned MC.
Seasoned. I like that. You didn't want to say older. You wanted
a seasoned MC.
Seasoned. And seriously, I'm not saying this because you're here. It's a really good project. And I talked to you about this before we started recording. I liked how you used the different voices of different women throughout this to empower the voice of Nikki Giovanni here, and you also speaking from the perspective of James Baldwin on different things. It's really well done. So people, you should check that out.
Yeah.
But I got to ask you this, because it is Black History Month. And I've been asking people this who've come up here on different shows that we do. What does Black history mean to you? And why was it so important for you to release your project during Black History Month?
And that's a good question. You know, Dex, I've been struggling with what Black history means to me. And I believe one of the reasons I struggle with it, bro, is because it's been so restrictive to only our community, only 5 people that we talk about, only this, only that. But I don't struggle no more, because after this project, what I'm seeing is that Black history is about the diaspora. It's about Patrice Lumumba. It's about Nelson Mandela. It's about Bob Marley. It's about the Haitians that are coming over here right now, immigrating to America, and their story of why they're even coming over here, because they were the first people to break the chains of slavery in this hemisphere, and they're still paying for breaking those chains. It's about food. It's about the Wolof tribe, the Fulani tribe. It's about everything that we are culturally, and not making that a stigmatism, but making that a value system. Black history to me is about the values of our diaspora and everything we had to do all around the world to get to me and you at this table right now.
It's a long history that we have to talk about. It's so vast and it's so deep, as you said.
And that takes a lifetime to get through. So that means that every February you got, and past February, but especially in February, there's always something new to dive into.
Yeah, and we're always creating.
We're always creating.
I got to ask you this as well, too, because over the past few years, we've seen black athletes use their voice. We've seen it to speak out against many injustices, social injustice in American society, particularly systemic racism. We've seen that. As an artist that I would say is trying to use your voice and your art for change, do you like seeing athletes speak out and not just doing the so-called stick to sports that you hear from some other people? Do you like athletes using their voice in the same way that you are attempting to do?
I like when people do whatever it is that they're good at, whatever their gift allows them to do. I think sometimes, people try to do what they saw the last person do, or people feel pressured because this person spoke out in this way, I got to speak out in this way. Well, you may speak out in the way you play the game. You may speak out in the way you do business. You may speak out in the way you use your voice. You may speak out in the way you use your body to kneel. There are multiple ways to communicate messages of justice and messages of love. What I would like to see us do, though, is not just say, I'm fighting for justice. I would like to see us example love, because the more we can example love, the more I believe it brings about justice. I believe the example of love, the example of grace, empathy, compassion for others, it makes people not even have to they can't even have an argument with you, because that's the kind of person they know you are. They know you're going to speak up for what's right, morally conscious, what's morally conscious. And I think the more we exhibit justice in the example of how we act, and the example of how we treat children, the more justice will be something that just emanates. You won't even have to fight for it.
Right. You're just exuding.
You're exuding love and exuding justice.
Yeah.
And nobody will come to you with anything other than that, because they won't feel comfortable.
Right, because the energy you're putting out is so strong.
The more we can do that, and everybody is going to speak in the way that fits their gift and their personality best. But to your question, us pressuring each other to, you got to say something about that, you got to do something about that, that might not be
right. Everybody might not be qualified to say
Come
that
on.
or feel comfortable saying.
And ain't that the worst, when somebody unqualified to speak on?
That's not what you want.
You're gonna mess the mission up.
Right, and so. I think, to your point, we're all grateful for the athletes that have used their platforms when they can, that might choose to do
and however they have. And some you may not see. You may not see what Magic Johnson is building in your community and know that he is behind that. You may not see water wells being built in Africa. You may not see. So I think we all have to have enough empathy and compassion to not denigrate something that we didn't see an extreme clip of you doing something on, because it leads people to do unnatural things and say that they're fighting for their people or fighting for justice. And when you do unnatural things, you're actually working against the cause.
Oh, makes a lot of sense. Well said to me. Also, since we have Rhymefest here and he's from Chicago.
Yeah, word.
We got to ask you about some of the sports teams in Chicago, because I know you keep your eye on what's going on. I'm assuming you're a White Sox fan.
I am. Southside. I don't call it Cellular Field. It's still Comiskey Park, but let's go. We're going to go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so we got that. How are you feeling about the state of Chicago pro sports right now? And also, I know you're very involved in terms of community. What do you like about some of these teams or maybe doing in the community?
Well, I'll tell you this. But let's start with the White Sox. Number one, I'm more of a casual sports observer than I am a go-hard fanatic. However, I do think the White Sox World Series championship was overlooked. Everybody, the system loves the Cubs so much that when the Cubs win, it's like W all over the city.
Oh, man,
but when the White Sox won, it was like,
The Cubs caught some strays here. I see.
They all right. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I live down the block. So, also, though, what I'm really into and what I love is when the teams interact with the community. Even when you got a team like the Blackhawks that are hockey, and not a lot of people on the South Side may be playing hockey, but the Blackhawks still come give tickets to the community center, still try to engage people from the community. Come on out, come see the Blackhawks. The White Sox, they just did a documentary called Fitted in Black, where they talked about how rappers and black culture is what spun the sales of those White Sox hats, that they sold over 3 million White Sox hats the year Ice Cube and NWA was wearing that hat. When Tupac wore that White Sox hat in Poetic Justice, it made those hats go off. You couldn't find them. You know, so the White Sox is now doing documentaries saying, you know, we realize black culture and the black community and black art is what helped the White Sox be what we are today, you know, because it's all entertainment, you know, whether, you know, you're hitting a home run or you got somebody throwing a three-pointer from across the court. Like, it's the biggest entertainment conglomerate is sports. But for them to reach out and say there's other forms of entertainment that are building what we are as champions of a community, I think that that's great. I think it's great that the Bulls hired Don C., fashion guru icon, to do community engagement through fashion and through community gardens. In fact, Don C., with the Chicago Bulls, just donated a garden to our nonprofit Art of Culture that we're doing this summer. We're going to have a free garden donated by the Chicago Bulls where young people can come grow food and eat from the gardens they grow. Like, so when franchises are involved in community like that, that's the sports I like.
I like that. And it sounds like there's some good work being done in Chicago, especially on the South Side, which I know makes you happy there. Last thing for me here, Rhymefest, that I got to ask you is about this new project. I want to come back to that for a second. When you look at this project that you just dropped, what do you think the legacy of the project will be? And do you also think that it'll inspire other hip-hop artists to create projects that speak to black history?
You know, I pray, and I'll start with the last part first, that this project inspires artists to speak to humanity, to speak to kindness and compassion, to go deep and do self-reflection instead of just projection. Because a lot of, especially hip-hop right now, is projection, and we need some reflection. You know what I'm saying? And some inflection.
There's a lot of rhyming there. I like that too.
Yeah, like a Rhymefest, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so we need a lot of reflection. And so I pray that this project helps inspire more authenticity, genuineness, vulnerability, fragility, collaboration between men and women, you know, learning from one another, generational. I pray James and Nikki inspires generational collaboration. In terms of black history, what do I want for this? I want it to be a curriculum. A curriculum that when you're driving your kid to school on the way to school, you are talking about this so that by the time you drop them off at school, nobody in that door can lie to them about history. It don't matter what book is there or not there. You got this project with some truth on it. This is the remix of a book. It's an audio book with beats and rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I pray that this project enters college courses and is taught from a standpoint that's not memorize, repeat, because a lot of our people are do it to the beat, not memorize, repeat. You know what I'm saying? And so I pray that this is a kind of futuristic griot way of teaching.
Look, I love it. Project is dope.
Thank you.
Really good job. James and Nikki, A Conversation, out now. Go check that out through Golden State Entertainment.
Golden State Entertainment.
Sports and entertainment
GSC.
coming together. I love it. Rhymefest, it's been an honor. Been watching your work for a long time. Since you dropped brand new.
Yeah.
We're going back.
Yeah.
Now you have something brand new.
Brand new.
Which is good. Like keep up the good work, brother. Happy Black History Month. Thank you
too, brother.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming here to talk with us about this. And we got to have you back for sure.
I love it.
All right. That is Rhymefest. Check out that project, James and Nikki, A Conversation. It's a really great one.